Good evening everyone, this is your host Captain Rohit Sharma, and today we have a very special guest whose just name is enough to people in shipping industry to realize what a veteran he has been. He has been a mentor to many of us, and he's been such a guiding star to a lot of people in the shipping. People who have joined just now wouldn't be aware of him, but this is where we bring up this interview with none other than our special guest, Captain Thomas. Captain Thomas, welcome to Connect. Captain Thomas, you have been a veteran, and it has been a privilege for us, basically because we started our career. In fact, I started my career in shipping, and you were the person who took my interview. So we have very high regards. Everybody has so high regards for you in shipping. But what do you talk about? How will you like to know? You have mentored so many people. So how do you look upon yourself, and how do you look upon the education and your experience which you shared with them and they learned from you? So how will you explain everything in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, it's been many years of experience.
Yes.
So right from the days of my training on the Dufferin,
okay,
and the sea time I served with an Indian company, and of course I was fortunate to be having a few chief officers who were tough themselves, but guided me as to how I should go about as a cadet, as an officer. And then I was also fortunate to sail with some good chief officers. So it's very important that all seafarers realize that they will be climbing up the ladder, and at some stage they will be in a position of authority, like a chief officer. Greater authority as a master, or the same way goes in the engine department, second engineer, chief engineer. So a lot depends on how you lead things yourself, because not only today but earlier too, it was necessary more to lead by example, set an example yourself. So you need to be disciplined, you need to be having an eye right around, and you need to conduct yourself in such a way as to pass the message that you will not take no nonsense, and you want results. Because shipping is a very different kind of a profession, where you are on a vessel, sometimes in port, most of the time at sea, very risky. The level of safety required is extreme.
Of course.
But in spite of that, you find so many accidents taking place to personnel, to ships, and equipment breaking down, hurting people. So, in that respect, maybe shipping has made a lot of progress, but mishaps still take place at frequent intervals. So, everybody all over the world who are in charge or authority are trying to find solutions. But every seafarer, by their conscious efforts to do their job in the way it should be done, ensures their contribution towards safety.
Yes, I agree. Let's put it your journey in three segments. One is before you came to sea. So what was that inspiration? Why did you think to join sea? And then how was your experience in sailing? And then later on you were doing shore job, right? So how do we bring about, like what motivated you to join sea?
I was fortunate to be trained and educated a little bit in an organization called Sea Cadet Corps. And we used to have parades twice a week, either at INS Angre or INS Kunjali. And when I was in the 9th standard, I was fortunate to make a trip on the old INS Delhi.
Oh, very nice.
Bombay.
So this is
which year? Cochin.
This is which year?
That must be
many ago. 50 years.
Definitely in the late 50s.
Yes, right.
So the Sea Cadet Corps is an organization that tries to make good citizens out of young people.
Right.
And we have parades.
Right.
We, the very first time I got some training in rifle shooting
Okay.
was in INS Angre
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
on 303 rifles.
Oh. Okay.
And so, yes, we used to go rowing, we used to go sailing,
Right.
and I must say that I did get interested in seafaring,
Okay.
though I had no idea what the
Right.
future
Right.
holds.
So are you from a seafaring profession?
No.
Your family? Nobody.
Not
is
at
there?
all.
Okay.
So, but there were a few people from the Sea Cadet Corps who joined merchant shipping,
Right.
and they used to come to the place where we
Yes,
used to have our
right,
parades
right.
and talk to us.
Okay.
So it did ignite an interest in a
Okay.
lot of us, you know,
Right.
and a few of us tried,
Right.
and 3 people
Right.
from my batch, you know, about the
Okay.
same age group,
Right.
we were fortunate to get into the Duffel.
Okay. Very nice.
And it was a tough competition, all India
Right,
competition,
of course.
and it was very tough training.
Okay.
So it makes a man out of a boy.
Right. That is.
And you already have experience of being on a ship, though not in the open waters. We
Right.
were inside Bombay Harbor.
Right.
And then that's where we started off.
Right.
Then we were apprentices
Right.
in different companies.
Right.
Those days, mainly in Indian companies.
Right.
And as a cadet, those days, the chief officer and the officers ensured
Right.
that they put you through the grind.
Right. Right.
So it is a lot different nowadays,
Right. Right.
you know,
Yes.
because you need to be a little careful to what level of stress you put the cadet
Yes.
through.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
so, and maybe there's a reason behind that,
Right.
you know. And so then I rose up the ranks, third officer, second officer, chief officer, and that is when, as a chief officer, when you have so much of responsibility, particularly with regard to cargo, and so I started off on breakbulk ships,
Okay.
so loading a whole load of cargo,
Right.
ensuring that the ship is having the right level of GM and
Right,
working
right,
out all
right.
that. So it was also a study and experience.
Right. Right.
And I also was fortunate to sail with a number of good masters in Sindhya's.
Okay. Okay.
So
So you were sailing with Sindhya's?
Sindhya's, I was there till 11 years master.
Okay.
Oh, 5 years master.
Okay.
Then subsequently joined Barber.
Okay.
I also sailed on Bergson ships.
Right.
Then in 88, they appointed me as 89.
Okay.
They appointed me as their representative
Right.
here in Bombay,
Right.
and they shifted to a better office in Andheri East. We were in Nariman Point,
Right. Right.
working out of Barber office.
Right.
So then the whole company shifted to Andheri East, and we had a bigger space.
Right. Yes.
So joined the office in 88,
Yes.
and 89 started as Bergson rep.
Right.
And we started off with 3 or 4 ships,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and it has been a tough journey,
Right.
but there was a time when we had about 750 plus people on board,
Oh. Okay. Okay.
and
So there's a vast fleet you are looking after. To
quite a number of
750
ships.
people, yes.
But as far as tankers and gas vessels were concerned,
Right.
the number of officers were restricted
Yeah. Yeah.
because all the seniors were Norwegians.
Okay. Great.
That is up to late 99.
Right. You have been famous for promoting Indians. I mean, Indians
That was my
went
job.
up. Yes, I mean it was quite commendable because Indians went up the rank also and employing Indians, and then promotion, because earlier those days Bergson was not so. People did not think that there was promotion possibilities in Bergson. I think you pushed it up and then you made sure that a lot of
No,
people
it was
went to the higher ranks.
it was a very tough situation I was in
Right.
because our officers. You take them as cadets and trainee engineers, and by the time they are second officers and third engineers, they are thinking of leaving. You know, because the vertical progression was extremely slow, and it did take me a lot of effort to educate the Norwegians. You know, particularly the decision makers, people who are in the board in Bergesen, to convince them that we have got people comparable to Norwegians who can command vessels. Then, as a test case, I took the master on board, and I've been working with that Norwegian master, so introduced the master to him, and well, his first reaction was, well, this vessel is going to come back to us Norwegians. Your guys are not going to be able to manage that. So I had to be as diplomatic as possible. I didn't want to upset him. And so he went through the handing over process because he had instructions from the office. And in the evening he left, and our master, he was there. So I did spend some time with him. I mean, I was with him on the flight from here. And I was more nervous than he was because I wanted this to be a success. Because the next one depended on this.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're set back 5 years.
Of course.
You know?
All the hard work is lost.
Everything is lost. So then, fortunately, things went well, and
I'm not sure, was it Larina or something?
Larina.
Okay.
Larina, that's right. You hit the nail on the head. So, it had a voyage from Brazil to Rotterdam. And everybody were Indians. Just the master was Norwegian. So that made it the first ship with complete India. Then I used to keep checking with the vessel. Master used to be keeping me informed that Norwegian office staff is coming to the ship frequently to check up how things are going. So that's why I said you chief engineer, chief officer, secretary, need to be on the ball. Ensure that everything is fine. Neat and clean and absolutely spick and span. The food should be perfect because the Norwegians come and help themselves to see how the food is. They also talk to the different people on board, and you have to see that everything is fine. You don't have to go to the extent you don't have to go and be kind and beg with people. You are the master. You keep your position. Be tough. Ensure everybody does their job. And if you have a problem with somebody, you can have it replaced. That's not a problem. But the ship has to be running perfect. So it started from Larina, and finally we had all the bulk carriers in about 10 years' time.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And when we say all the bulk carriers, including Berge Star, 364,000 tons.
Yes, that is good.
And so after the bulk carriers were already there, I asked them for tankers, VLCCs. So he said, I was told, you produce the right people. And, after he came in as director, so he took maybe 2 years to study me, and he used to be very critical. He used to have a lot of complaints, but before that there was a lady director. Oh, she was very critical, and she had no first-hand experience and knowledge about handling of seafarers. But Life Father was a different person. He knew what he was doing, but it was difficult making him understand that Indian culture is different from Norwegian culture. Right? So he kept on coming to India twice a year, spending time at the office, and so after I made a point to take him around on the road, you know. So I wanted him to see that India or Mumbai is not Oslo, and the living the values, the education level of people, and also the integrity levels of people are different.
Right.
So I told him, he asked me, why are you so tough with people?
Yes.
So I said, this is the reason.
Right.
Because there have been people complaining on the ship.
Okay.
Captain Thomas is too
very
tough.
Yes, yes.
If we get average reports, he will just kick us out of the company.
Right, right.
Which I used to do. I
Yes.
did in a few
But
cases.
I think you were famous for maintaining a benchmark. And
Yes,
there was always a word used like Ferguson standard. So I think you were the one who brought it up to that point where people used to talk about that.
I used to have a little bit of a problem with people,
Right.
not seafarers,
Yes.
with authorities,
Right.
because now our Indians have to go on board the ship and work with 6 feet 2 Norwegians.
Yes.
So you can't have small.
Right.
So I kept a benchmark 5'8".
Right.
And how do I guide people? How do I check on people's height? I used to have a mark on the door frame.
Oh, okay.
So when a person walks in, I know
Yes.
what,
Right.
sitting on my chair, I don't have to ask him.
Right.
Because they can go and complain to the union,
Yeah.
because of this.
Right.
And then also, physique has to be
Yes.
good,
Yes.
you're a seaman.
Yes.
And I used to take a lot of people in the trainee level as cleaners.
Right.
All of them, I ensured they were ITI trained
Right.
or
Right.
diploma holders.
Right.
Because these people are trained to use certain tools,
Right.
and they have a little technical bent of mind.
Right.
So when a seaman,
Yes.
deck side, engine side, have got that kind of background,
Right.
they make better seamen.
Right. Right.
And so the work result
Right.
that they bring about will be
Right.
far better. And that was confirmed by the chief officers and chief engineers.
Right. Right.
So, but it's a long.
It was understood always that Ferguson, all the cream, of all the people who are sailing in shipping, only the cream make it to Ferguson. And of course, from there also there's a benchmark. Everybody used to say, even when we were talking to passing ships, those days and all that, they used to wonder, how do you join Ferguson? Because it was probably done internally. They said, we don't know how, there's no ad in the paper, we don't know how it is done, and how come you people, anybody joins Ferguson? So I think that was maintained, what you were talking about, the filtering and, taking out the cream.
Yes, it was a continuous process.
Yes.
And for that, one thing I maintained was, however busy I am,
Right.
nobody will interview new entries. The number of hours per day I used to spend with people
Right.
was pretty long.
Right.
And I took it as my main responsibility, because when Captain Sharan came in, he was doing that too,
Right.
because I trusted him.
Right.
Captain Sharan also served as Chief Officer Master
Right.
with me,
Right. Right.
and when he wanted to come ashore, I gladly took him,
Right.
because he is a man,
Right.
responsible person,
Right.
person with integrity,
Right.
and he used to produce results on the ship.
Of course, and now he's doing the same. I think he's sitting in the office and doing the
He's
same.
looking after the office now.
Right.
So I was very glad when he said that he wants to come ashore.
Right.
But we had nothing when he came ashore. He went and worked in the college, I think, and
Okay, he was teaching one.
yeah, and he was with one of those
Right.
institutions. But when a chance came here,
Yes.
in fact, Ferguson said now the workload is increased.
Increasing, yes.
It's difficult for you to manage. At
Yeah.
least by Norwegian standards, this is too much for one
Yes.
person.
Okay.
Why did you take somebody?
Okay.
So I said, okay.
Yes.
So you have somebody in mind?
Right.
I said, I have somebody in mind, but I don't know if that person will be willing.
Okay.
I need to talk to him.
Right.
I'll send you his details, and
Okay.
it is a person that you might know.
Okay.
So I gave him a call and called him to the office. He came,
Right.
he sat down for a cup of tea. So I said, Mukesh, I have an offer for you.
Yes.
So I said, I don't know if you'll be ready and willing.
Right.
But he said, sir, you tell me, I'm willing for it.
Oh, that's nice.
So I said, I have not told you your
Assignment.
no, I have not told you what package you will be getting.
Okay.
He said, no sir, you tell me whatever it is. You will not give anything unreasonable.
Yes.
So he was ready without my spelling out
Oh,
details,
okay.
and he joined right away,
Right.
and that did loosen a lot of my burden.
Right.
And so it gave me a lot more time
Yes.
to polish up
Right.
the people who are already there.
Right.
And what you said is right. The quality of Ferguson officers
Yeah.
and crew
Right.
joining out of India
Right.
would compete with the best in the
Of
world.
course. Yes.
I'm not saying it.
Right.
Another person from another company
Right.
and who later joined our company